Have you ever been curious of what exact keywords your competitors are using on Amazon? How does a competitive advantage sound to you to where you know for an absolute fact based on the exact data that your Amazon listing is up to par and it's actually beating your competition? Hi, my name is Aaron Farrell with Sellers Arena, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can leverage a tool that we use in our agency to be able to spy on the backend keywords that your competition's using and be able to leverage that to optimize and rank much better on your Amazon listing. Stay tuned. Alright, so hopping right into it here. If you remember in one of my past videos, I actually recorded a section on keywords on fire, and you can go back to that video on our channel to kind of learn a little bit more about this tool. I'm not going to cover this as in depth, but it's going to be kind of a starting point for this particular walkthrough here. What I've done, just to give you a little bit of context, I've basically added in 25 different competitors for the keyword dog bones, and ZonGuru has gone ahead and gave me a list of all these different keywords that those top 25 competitors are ranking for in some form or fashion within the top 25 results. Now, out of those 25 on each individual keyword, there may only be a handful of them that are actually ranking for that particular keyword, but this is essentially just going to give you a good base understanding and a starting point rather that you can use while you're trying to construct your Amazon listing and get the different keywords for your title, your bullet points, description, backend, so on and so forth. So just diving right into it here. First and foremost, what I want to do is actually go through and try to filter out the top 25. This is number of competitors that rank in the top 25 for this keyword out of that list that we added originally. So one thing I might want to do to try to get a little more granular, because right now we've got about 348 entries, is I might want to filter this out or filter it down to, let's say, where the top 25 competitors is less than or equal to 4, and then I'll hit filter. Again, look at this right here, 348, starting with that. Now I'm down to 244, and I can be even more granular. I could go through and potentially filter out brand names, filter out anything that may not be relevant. And then the next step is going to really kind of be going through on a keyword by keyword basis and trying to take a look at which ones are going to be the most relevant for you, because obviously it tries its best to not pull in a bunch of junk keywords, but a lot of times there's different things like this: nubs, dog treats, yak chews, yak cheese, good and fun, Purina, nubs, milk bones, milk bone. So there's a lot of different brand name keywords that you probably don't want to include, right? So you're not going to want to include those, but let's say we want to include all the rest of these. So what I can do here is start off just with selecting all, and then I would essentially go in and just try to uncheck any of these that I don't want. Good and fun, Purina, milk bones. So yeah, you get the idea. Basically, just kind of going in and filtering it out. And once I've got a good list here, maybe I'm down to, I don't know, 100 keywords, let's say, for example. Then at that point, you can go ahead and just save this view and call it something particular that you're going to remember. So let's say dog bones less than 4, less than or equal to 4 competitors in top 25. Why are we doing this? Basically, the reason or the rationale behind it is because if these top 25 products are ranking for these individual keywords, then chances are that product or that type of product is going to be very relevant for these keywords, right? So these are the things that when people are searching on Amazon, they're really using these types of keywords in order to find your product and purchase your product ultimately, which at the end of of the day is going to help significantly, because if they're finding your product but they're not buying it, that's going to actually impact your overall organic ranking and basically make it impossible for people to find your product. So I'm gonna go ahead and just save that view here. And then the next step is to go over on this listing optimization. We were in Keywords on Fire. We're gonna go to listing optimizer. And once I've done that, I actually went ahead and created kind of a layout here already for this, but I'm gonna actually delete this and try to add a new one so we can start from scratch. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is click or type in dog bones or something to name the session, hit start session, and then on the keywords section here, go to add, and then you can either add manually or import from KWOF or Keywords on Fire. So for this particular example, we're going to import, and then we're going to select this one, dog bones with less than or equal to 4 competitors in top 25, and we can see the keywords 233 there. And we're going to select either strong and medium, strong keywords, or all keywords. And I think this just goes based off of the actual score that they give it, but I'm just going to leave it as a default on strong and medium. You can test just strong keywords, but sometimes that would be too restrictive and you won't have any keywords. So I'm just gonna leave it on this one for now, but obviously you can test with your products and then hit add. And then now all of a sudden we've got this whole list of different keywords, the search volume, the KWOF score, which I was talking about, Keywords on Fire score, and obviously the higher the better on this one. And then the next step is going to be adding our first listing. So let's hop over to Amazon here. Basically dog bones, went ahead and searched dog bones, and we can do this one of two ways. So we can either just kind of scroll down. These are obviously all sponsored here on the first positions, but we can actually see right here, this is going to be the first organic result. This is going to be the second, third, fourth. I've got Helium 10 in the extension on here, so I can easily just copy this, but if you don't, you can click into the listing and get the ASIN from there by just going in and then scrolling down to right here and grab this particular ASIN. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is hop back over to ZonGuru, click here to add your first listing, and then the listing options is either an AMZ product, like one that's already out there in the market, but that's not your own. Then you have the option of one of your own products, where it can, I believe this should be pulling in directly like your product information, so you can start, or you can just do a blank listing, which is probably kind of the easiest way, especially if you don't have anything yet, if you want to start to create your own listing. But the main thing is, you know, adding in some of these competitors. So right here, I'm going to paste in this ASIN, Marketplaces United States, hit add listing, and then we've got a optimization score based on the different metrics from ZonGuru. So you can tell this particular listing definitely is not a very highly optimized, but let's go ahead and try to add a few more here. So I'm going to go into this one and click the add, paste in the ASIN, hit add listing, and this one's even lower at 96. So yeah, you can tell, I mean, these guys have been around for quite some time. They've got a massive amount of reviews, but they're definitely not doing a lot of things right on their optimizations. So a lot of room for improvement. And like, if you're coming in to this particular niche and you're brand new, now all of a sudden you at least have some level of competitive advantage. Sure, probably going to take a while to get those reviews and start selling at the velocity that they're selling, but in any measure now, all of a sudden you can at least take a look at what your competitors are doing and try to model that if it's actually in fact and indeed a high optimization score. So go ahead and add this one. That one's only 250. I mean, this is at the bottom of 1%. So really, sometimes, you know, it's the whole velocity garbage in, garbage out, right? If there's not a lot of good optimized listings, then it can become really difficult to actually have something to model off of. So you might have to kind of go in here and really start to add a bunch before you're going to find something. So that's 408. So far, the highest we've got is the 850, which is still in the bottom 2%. Just going to try to see if I could find ones that were kind of brand new to the market or newer to the market, because usually if it's a newer listing, they probably are going to have to work a little bit harder to get some level of traction, right? So I'm trying to see if I can find a listing on here, and maybe I'll use the plugin that they've got so I can sort it by reviews. This one here only has 278, but it's pulling it from the first page. So I'm going to try to see if I copy this ASIN here, try to throw it over into ZonGuru. Hit add, and there we go. Actually, is a lot better than the other competitors. But the main thing I want to really highlight here and point out, because this is huge, is actually having the ability to see exactly what your competition is doing and essentially take that information, try to make it even better. So you can see right here, it's pulling in all the data from Amazon. So we get the title, the bullet points, the description. That one's not pulling in, maybe because they have A+ content. I'm not quite sure on that. Usually that's the case. Why it wouldn't be pulling in. But the main thing I want to highlight right here is the search terms. This is incredible because this is the exact backend keywords that your competition is actually using on their listing. So if you really wanted, you could take these, copy them, you could start your own listing and just be off to the races, just kind of duplicate what they did exactly. But the main thing you're going to want to actually do is try to get a better score than this. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add a new blank listing. We're going to call this the winner of dog bones. And we're going to try to dominate what the competition is doing. So just to start off, I'm just going to copy and paste exactly what the competition had. And you can see right here, right off the bat, we've got a option, to improve this, because they're only using 189 out of the 249 bytes that you're allowed to use on Amazon. So there's 34 additional characters or words, or bytes, I guess, technically, because bytes are a little bit different than the actual words themselves or the characters themselves. But that's going to give us a starting point. And then the next thing I'm going to do is try to use some of these keywords here that we've went ahead and added in for the other fields. So say, let's see right here, trying to see if I can, okay, so that actually added it into there. I'm gonna delete it here. So I'm gonna use this and say dog treats for medium dogs. That's gonna actually be an exact keyword. So it's going to give us a star here, and also dog treats is being used as well. So that's exact. Dog chew sticks included in listing. It's just finding basically the keyword dog, and treats, it's finding that word, so it's showing it included in the listing. So right off the bat, like before we've even filled any of this other stuff out, we're already very close to the best listing that we found. And then the next thing we're going to want to do, let's say if we do a dash, because usually for a canonical, which is a whole another video, but basically for optimization, you can do a dash after the first 4 or 5 keywords. It really can depend on niche to niche and category to category in terms of how many words can be in the URL, but this is going to help with SEO down the road. And then the next thing I want to do is try to see if there's any other keywords here that we can use and incorporate within the title, because we can have up to 200 characters here. So I'm going to say marrow, bones, raw, hides, bulk, or maybe we say in bulk, and then saying long lasting over here, long lasting dog chews for aggressive chewers. Let's see. And maybe say dash great, oops, for a great healthy dog treats for your pet. And yeah, we still have even more that we could add here, but as we've been typing this out, you can see this is exact match here. I was able to use this keyword bones, this one broad match here, because it's basically using all of those keywords in different orders. And then the next thing is we're just going to take a look at this finished title here and just kind of see what we think of it, see if there's any other keywords we could stuff into it. So it says dog treats for medium dogs, marrow bones, raw hides in bulk, long lasting chews for aggressive chewers. That's kind of repetitive. Great healthy dog treats for your pet. So obviously, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of other things that you could do to make this sound a little bit better, right? But you're going to need to kind of play around. And in this video, just to keep it a little bit shorter, I'm just going to skip on to the next part. So let's say we were just save on time here. We're just taking their bullet points and we're just going to copy and paste those. And obviously in your case, you're going to want to try to hire a copywriter, right? Not just take what they have, because that could lead to some trouble. But bullet point 4, I'm just doing a Command C or Control C, depending on if you're on a Mac or a PC. But it's just a faster way to copy and paste. So all right, so now we've got a score of 2,817. You're already beating this other one by essentially copying exactly what they did, making it a little bit better by trying to add optimized keywords. And you can see over here all the different keywords that they've used in their title or somewhere in the listing, right? So you could even get some inspiration from their title to try to optimize yours as well, so you're not creating things from scratch. The other thing I want to take a look at is search volume. So this is 350,000 and about 2.8 million in revenue. We've got 349,000 and almost $3 million in revenue. So right off the bat, we're already better than the bottom 9%, but there's still a lot of room for optimization here. So the next thing I'm going to do is just try to go over here, and this is actually for this listing. They had a description, so for some reason ZonGuru is not pulling it in, but I'm going to go in here, copy and paste this on our new listing, right, that we're making. See if that moves the needle. 2817. So yeah, it's not really moving the needle at all, but you get the point. Essentially, you can just keep adding, and unfortunately right now we don't have a ton of keywords over here. Could probably try to add a few more. So actually that recalculated it. Now we're at a 3,000 score, but there's gonna be maybe some other things that we can add here. So the next thing I think we should probably do is try to add stuff we can't fit in all of these sections into the search terms. So Smart Sticks is actually brand name, so you don't really want to put these in the back end. Well, actually, I'm just gonna use some of these other ones, see if we can exact match. So this is rawhide. So I'm gonna put rawhide. And then boom, we got a exact match there. And actually it's showing several different ways. So raw hide, all one word, and raw space hide. The next thing we're gonna do is add another keyword. So let's say dog snacks. Gonna add that again. Or I mean, it's gonna add it on there. I'm gonna say peanut butter dog bones. And you may not want to do an exact because you don't want to like repeat keywords here, but I'm just doing these to give you example that you can kind of just see how it all works as you're adding in new keywords. It's much like Helium 10 listing or scribbles. I think they might have a new word for it now, but essentially it's very similar in that manner. But I think the huge differentiator that you have here is the ability to actually look and see. This is hilarious, right? Like literally only 8 bytes being used out of 249, and they're in the first position on Amazon. So that goes to show you too how even really bad optimized products can still rank at the top, given the fact that enough people are actually buying them. So if they have a good listing, they might be able to kind of get away with things that may be a little bit harder for new sellers, right? This one, wholesome, incredibly hilarious sometimes looking through these and how non-optimized they actually are, but in many cases at least you can start to get different keyword ideas outside of the keywords that you've already researched. And you know, if you do have a really good listing to model off of in your particular niche or industry, then that's even better, because you can start, you know, from a really good example and kind of mimic exactly what they're doing and just put things more or less in your own words, you know, change some keywords around and do things that are going to make it unique to your product specifically. So you're not copying exactly, but you're using it to model off of. So a lot of content in this particular walkthrough. It's gone on for quite some time here, so if you're still sticking with me and you've been here throughout the whole video, appreciate you getting to the end of this. And if you haven't already, give us a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell to be notified of videos just like this one. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.